Hi, Dick and Gladys.
Grandma and Grandpa.
Mom and Dad.
Grandma and Grandpa, we just wanted to wish you a happy 66th anniversary, and we love you guys.
Love you guys. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy 66th wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary, Grandma and Grandpa.
Happy anniversary, Grandma and Grandpa.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy 66th anniversary.
Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad.
Happy 66th wedding anniversary.
We hope that you have more years together of watching this family grow, because it seems to be doing that.
And we love you.
I love you.
You guys are truly an inspiration.
Love you so much.
I love you.
And we love you guys.
Love to you guys.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
So many years that have been so important to all of us.
We love you.
And thank you for all that you've done for all of us. We love you.
And, we wanted to put this together for you just so you have some lasting memories of how much we all love you. And, in 65 years, I have quite a few memories, so it's going to be kind of hard to put that in a soundbite.
I just like that we'd always have a lot of good meals at their house. We'd go to their house a lot, so it was always nice that you'd be eating good when you go to their house.
And I know Mom worried that I wasn't learning how to do the inside stuff as much because I was outside probably more than the other girls. And I remember telling Mom, if you can read, you can cook, because there's a recipe for everything. And I just want to admit that I was wrong. And sorry, Mom.
She made really good kraut burgers. She did make good kraut burgers. We would go out to lunch, and Grandpa and I would always clean both of our plates, and we would always look at each other and laugh because we couldn't leave one bite left on the table.
And of course, that's where we had the Clean Plate Club. You couldn't leave the table without eating everything on your plate. So we learned to try everything, including liver, which I still to this day cannot stand. We had to try everything, and we had to eat everything that was on our plate. So if you sat next to Mike, you always had to keep an eye on your dessert, because he would always steal the frosting off your cake or eat the best part of whatever it was. After dinner, though, you and Dad used to always go into the living room and lay down together on the couch. And we always had General Hospital on, so we got to watch General Hospital right after lunch before all the dishes were done. Paul and I did a lot of cleaning. I think our job was usually inside the house. We helped a lot with preparing the meals because we were the oldest, I guess, and we remember that a lot. That was our responsibility, but I think that we found it to be fun. Even after a while, every Saturday we had to clean our room, and it took almost all day because it was a mess, and we couldn't go anywhere until it was clean. And the only thing that interrupted us was if the Montgomery Ward's catalog came in the mail, and we get to lay on the living room floor and thumb through that catalog until we got bored, which took forever. And Mom would finally say, "Okay, that's enough. You need to go back to work." But that was always a great break from house cleaning.
Just all the times that we spent around the kitchen table, just sharing. We usually had some food to eat or a snack or something like that, but just spending time with family. Also, Uncle Gordon was kind of a part of our family, and we spent a lot of afternoons, especially in the winter, that were cold days, that we'd come in and Mom would fix popcorn, hot chocolate, and we would sit around the kitchen table and again, just share a lot of time together that way.
That kitchen table's had over the years, had many wonderful conversations, and during the course of a meal or just sitting there and catching up. It's always been a special place, always a comfortable place, and there's been many times I've brought the kids, me and Melinda brought the kids, or it was just one of us, or whatever the case, but I always felt like it was a great place to come and catch up, and Gladys would always have something good to eat, which was a added incentive. But And then that kitchen table later after the meal became the place for the card game. So I got introduced to Pinochle. I have the Canals' Dick and Gladys to thank for that. So we'd often play Pinochle after eating, and you guys taught me how to play Pinochle, and I soon figured out it was a fun game, but you guys were in it for business too. So some of the games got pretty competitive, but always fun.
Once a month we play cards with Kirsten and I play cards with Grandma and Grandpa. We're able to it's nice to see Grandpa in a different light, see him, when he's playing Pinochle, you see his sense of humor, you see his competitive side, and it's really special. I'm on his Pinochle team, and once in a while, but usually we get worked over pretty good by the girls, and he gets pretty upset.
Do you remember playing spoons?
Yes.
And we had a really horrendous hailstorm, and the neighbor kids came over, and we all played spoons during this hailstorm. And in fact, there was like a cow trough that blew by the window while we were playing. I remember after that hailstorm being at a friend's house, and her dad said, "So what did your dad have to say after that storm?" And I said, he thought that we were probably going to be able to save 25-30% of our crop. And he just made a comment that sounds like something that my dad would say, because he saw everything in a positive light.
Watching a hailstorm as we were sitting inside, and I think it was ruining the crops that year. It was the worst hailstorm ever. And I just remember Dad saying, "Can't control the weather."
Instead of losing 75%,
yeah,
we could save 25%. I remember after that hailstorm, we went out and collected all these hailstones, and they were like baseball size, and we put them in the freezer, and then the next time we made homemade ice cream, we used some of those hailstones around the churn, okay?
That's
the ice
right,
cream
we
maker,
did use them for that.
okay, to make ice cream the next time, so we did get some good out of that hailstorm.
When we had when we made ice cream on the farm, and how good it was and how long it seemed to take, and I always think about that. I think about a time when Grandpa took me to go check the irrigation, just me and nobody else got to go, and I was kind of afraid, but it seemed like a big deal.
I remember the sirens that went off at 6, 12, and 6 p.m. And we always got to play. We always went to the library, and we went swimming. There wasn't really very much to do in Holyoke, but Grandpa was always working, and he always came home with very muddy boots, and he seemed like he'd had a long day. And Grandma always was doing all the cooking. And I remember just loving being out there.
I remember being out at the farm helping Grandpa, and there was this old pickup truck that he took me out with, and they were trying to lay pipe or something like that with all the rest of the workers, and he needed me to drive the truck forward a little bit so that the pipes would fall out of the back of the truck while the workers were catching them. And I must have been, only 8, maybe, to be, I don't know, I don't even think I was 8. Maybe even, 5 or 6. And I remember being so scared about thinking, oh, I'm just going to drive this truck forward. But whatever it took to get the job done in the farm is what we did.
Some memories I have with you are yearly pickle making and canning, picking the berries from your old tree, watching The Sound of Music with cousins and dancing along, playing at the house at Christmas, lots of ping pong in the basement, Kersey being very pushy and getting in trouble, making perfect sand from the gravel pit in Holyoke, and the long car rides to get there. Love you guys.
I think some of my fondest memories from my childhood with Grandma and Grandpa was in Holyoke. they introduced both of us to Randy Travis, who we both still love and still see in concert today.
We made a lot of our own clothes, and I remember Mom always, if we wanted to walk, she would let us walk downtown to the fabric store, Hulk's Fabrics, after school, and we would go in there and we would pick out a pattern and material, and Mom would come in to pick us up and she would pay for it, and then we'd go home and we cut it out and we put it together and try to have it ready to wear either the next day or 2 days later. And that was something that Mom always encouraged. She always liked us to keep busy, and sewing was a huge thing for us.
Some of the memories that I can remember that I cherish most is the times that we got to sew upstairs in the like sewing room and make pillows with Grandma.
I remember in college when you made Mike a beautiful denim quilt for his dorm room and me a yellow one. And the funny thing is that we're still using those, so that's just us.
We made, with Grandma, I made an elephant and I made a cat. I made a cat that I kept for 10 years, and it even lost its ears and its nose. But what's funny about that story is my elephant it ripped or something, and then my grandma made me another one, pretty much the same, only different pattern, and I as dorky as it sounds, sleep with it today, literally.
With Dad, that we would go out and we would work long hours, but we really didn't think anything of the hours that we were putting in. I remember Dad never complained about time spent working, so I never felt work was supposed to be tedious or something that wasn't good. It was something that needed to be done, and I learned that from my dad.
One of our cows would not feed its baby, and it was always an exciting day when Dad would bring home that baby calf, and we'd have to mix up the milk and go out and feed the baby calf with bottles, and so that was really fun.
On the farm, Grandpa would always wear his pants and short sleeve shirts, and he would always come into the house, and he had this huge farmer tan, just the tannest arms and the whitest body you've ever seen. And he always hated wearing shorts, so we always wore pants. And I always gave him a hard time. Come on, Grandpa, show your legs. And now that I'm grown up, I hate showing my legs too, so I only wear pants. I probably got that from Grandpa.
Okay. Remember when we used to butcher chickens, and then they would go to Mom, and she would butcher the chickens and cut them up into little pieces, and then she would cut the feet off, and I remember you used to like to play with the feet and run around and scare people with the feet and pull them so they expand out like this. But you got a lot of mileage out of the chicken feet.
Yes. I'm the one that locked myself in the bathroom when it was time to dress chickens, because that's another thing I really don't like. And even to this day, birds and I don't get along. So
when they were all naked with no feathers, you would like line them up on sawhorses and then cross their legs, and they would all these dead chickens would be lined up. And I would like pretend I was a choir director.
I remember, yeah.
But I always wanted to ask you, one time I got locked in the chicken house and got attacked by the rooster. And I want to know, did you lock me in there on purpose? Because you also were the one that saved me.
I probably locked you in the chicken house so I could save you, so you would feel like I was a helpful brother. I don't really recall if it was an accident or if I did it on purpose, but I do remember unlocking it, getting you out of there, and you were happy that I did that.
And then Dad actually killed that rooster that same day.
I think we had that one for dinner one day.
Living on the farm, it seemed like our mom and dad were always pretty willing to let us do things to keep busy. And I remember in the summertime we would like to sleep outside, and there were even times when I can remember taking the rollaway bed out on the lawn with blankets and pillows and everything, and Mom and Dad let us do that, drag that big heavy rollaway bed outside, and we slept out there and woke up in the morning and it was all dewy and wet, and the dog was stick his nose under our blankets. But that was one of the things that they didn't mind us doing, which was kind of a pain, but it was really a lot of fun, and I'm sure we did that more than once.
One of the best memories to me was the tree house. I mean, that tree house was the best tree house on the block.
It was three-room tree house, and the wood just kept coming in from all over because the neighbors tore down one of their barns, so we had an ample supply of wood to put into this tree house, and we just kept carrying the wood from across the street and putting it up in our tree out by the chicken house. And I think we ended up with a 3-room tree house with a nice deck on it, and I remember spending the night up there, sleeping out in the tree house, and
It was
pretty all amazing. Made by 10-year-olds, pretty much.
I just remember laughing a lot growing up and wrestling, and one of the memories that I have is Mike and I chasing through the house. I think I was chasing Mike, and then he just blasted through the screen door, and it happened to be locked, so we knocked that down. So, I think we were in a little bit of trouble there. But
when you chased me out the house and down the street with a wooden spoon, and you never did catch me. But from that time on, I thought, I'm faster than Mom. I can get away from that wooden spoon. But then when I had to come back home, I knew I was probably going to catch it. So,
I just remember you telling us, all the things that we should do. Keep your hands busy. Tomorrow's another day, and it's always a very optimistic outlook, I thought. And you and Dad always lived your life with such integrity and values.
All I remember mostly is just a sense of humor and activities. We were always laughing and having fun, playing games.
I remember badminton with Dad in the front yard, and how he would play with his irrigation boots on, and until I got close to beating him, and then he would kick his boots off, and so he could move faster. I finally got to where he always played in his socks instead of his boots, which meant I was probably getting a little better.
And basically Mike created the games. So I remember the river, we'd get on the hippity hop, and you would allow us to play in the house and laugh and just have fun. And we'd ride that hippity hop all over the house and take turns. And we'd take the table leaf out of our wooden table and slide on it like a slide. And we'd play with marble board, and we played with the super ball. Mike created a game to throw the super ball from his little room, or the sewing room at the time, and it had to stay, and throw it across the hall, and it had to stay in the tub without bouncing back out.
It was kind of a two-way deal where I'd try to hit you with the Super Bowl and get the Super Bowl to stay in the bathtub, so the ball would bounce back and forth, and then we'd try to keep it in the tub without it coming back out. But that was a favorite memory of the hallway and soccer and playing with the Super Bowl. You remember getting hit once?
Yeah, I remember I had a lot of nosebleeds.
That was pretty fun, really fun. And it was fun that you would always allow us to play in the house like that and just be kind of rambunctious. I guess I always remember that.
It's me in my life, and then also some of the memories that Kirk had that really shaped him. He really loved all the mind games that we would play at your house. I think he's definitely to this day still intrigued by puzzles, and the 3D polar bear and the horseshoes was something that we would just be entertained with for hours and hours coming over. So it was always really a treat to come over to your house and get to play with all of your fun toys that you had.
I just have so many fond memories of coming down to Longmont and playing with all of our cousins and Grandma and Grandpa. We had a marble game that we would pull out from the playroom. And then Grandpa teaching us to play the golf cards games. And we'd get out the croquet and play that in the yard. So,
you know, them teaching us a lot of games, a lot of card games specifically. We learned how to play Authors, which was a lot of fun, as well as Pinochle, which I never really got the hang of it, but it was always fun to get the family around the table and have those memories. So thank you so much for that.
Remember to sleepovers at your house when we were younger, and you guys would babysit us. Cards, we would always play Authors, which was like my favorite game growing up. And Grandma would always make such a big breakfast in the morning, and we would have poached eggs and toast with peach jelly on it, and always obviously playing Pinochle, great memories. And
it was always really fun watching Grandma get competitive and Grandpa just kind of messing with her. That was one of my favorite aspects of that. And he would always say that she was cheating, and I know she wasn't, but it was always kind of a running joke, and I love that.
Grandpa is somebody that speaks more with his eyes than he does his words. He has a twinkle in his eye that I don't even know if a camera can ever catch it, but you can in person. And he just gives you this look, and, you know, I always refer to him as, oh, Grandpa, you're so ornery. And because he is. He also has these big bare hands, and I remember always watching him tap him on the table, and I'd ask Grandpa, how are you doing? When I came over to visit, and he's like, well, I don't know, how are you doing? He'd always turn everything that you were asking around on you, so you found yourself talking all the time while Grandpa listened. He is an excellent listener.
So my best memories go back to just joining the family and going from being kind of this single child to having these new siblings and getting to come over to Grandma and Grandpa's house. And I remember I just thought that room in your house was so cool with the ceiling was like this. It was like a triangle, and it was like a playroom, and we just loved to play up there, and I thought it was so fun to have this new big family. And I remember we came over and we would play cards with you, and you would be cooking in your kitchen, and I just always felt really welcome and loved it.
The one thing that I can honestly say in the 17 years that I've known them is that they are truly kind people. And you can tell that kindness has trickled through their entire family. Their children, their grandchildren are truly kind people. And that's what makes Dick and Gladys so very special.
I think it was like in 1991 we first met. Do you remember that? You guys were down there with a truck full of wood, along with other things that you were doing that day. And of course I volunteered to help, and it was kind of humorous because Dick, he first said, like normal, he doesn't want to put anybody out, that he would not welcome my help so much, and that he was going to do it and it would be just fine. I gave him a hard time about that, and I think I convinced him finally that it would be okay to let somebody else help. So I helped unload that truck of wood with him. And that was the first meeting that I ever had with him.
Of when I first met you, and that's when we were sophomores in high school, and we were all at the 4-H Carnival chili dinner. Wonder if you remember that one. But through the years, it's been the best family that I could have married into. I couldn't have asked for better in-laws.
The first night that I went out with Melinda, which was 22 years ago, and we came home after the date and met you guys, which was really an unusual situation for me because I'd never met the parents of a girl, I think, after the first date. So, but you guys really put me at ease right away, and I could see what a great family it was, and it really kind of confirmed what I already felt about Melinda. So in many ways, you guys are a big part of us becoming a couple. So, but I'll always look back on that night as a really good example of what nice people you were, and how lucky I was to find you guys as a family.
Okay, so I remember when me and Alec were little, and we were playing hide and go seek at Grandma and Grandpa's house, and I was looking for Alec for a really long time. And Grandma started to panic because I kept asking, "Have you seen Alec? Have you seen Alec?" And she was up and around looking for him and was ready to call the police. And finally I said, "Okay, Alec, I give up." And out comes Alec out from behind a couch.
Yeah, I was just hiding behind the chair the entire time, just listening.
And he couldn't hear it that Grandma was like ready to call the cops, and he still hid.
I might have been able to hear that. Yeah.
If we always kind of had this rule that if the car went, we got to go. And it probably wouldn't mean much to just anybody, but to us, being 5 miles out of town, we were so grateful, Dad, that you loved the sports, because Dad always wanted to go to, whether it was a football game or a basketball game or a wrestling match. You had a real passion for sports, and so even before Mike was playing, we got to go if the car was going, and I think that was really good entertainment for us.
When they came to our basketball games, win or lose, because I know at Skyline we had a lot of rough games, but they are still there and supported us.
You guys always came to all my sporting events through high school and even in college. And I just know everybody always knew who you guys were when you came into the gym, and that just meant so much to me. And it was so lucky to have you guys at all those games. And even when you guys came out to Chadron for my graduation, and you got to see where I went to school and got to meet all my friends, that was so much fun. I was just so happy that you guys could be there.
Was actually just the fact that Grandma and Grandpa were extremely supportive of us growing up through all of our sporting activities. We grew up and they came to so many games, whether it be me and my sisters or the Knaus clan and the Steels. I remember they always came to our volleyball games or basketball games, and everyone knew who they were when they walked into the gym. It was always really nice to have them supporting us throughout the years and through our sporting events, and even throughout our college years as well. So thank you so much for coming out and doing that, and it was always nice to see you guys in the stands cheering us on.
You were at so many volleyball games, so many tennis matches. You were there even at my college games, which is amazing. You were there for all my graduations. Just any part of life that was really important, you guys were always there.
For me, I just wanted to say thank you for being around for so many occasions all through my life. You always were at sporting events and high school graduation, and recently my baby shower, and it just means the world to me to have such a supportive family, and it really starts with you and Grandpa. You show truly what family is and what it means to build a great support system around you.
Whenever I go out in Longmont, it always seems like I'm running into someone that I'm related to, and my friends always joke that we're related to so many people, but it's just because we have such a strong family and knitted group that we love to see each other wherever we end up, and I think that's all because of the community that you guys have established here, and friendships and love that you have built all around you.
So I guess I was just kind of a handful from what I hear, but I think even growing up I might have been a handful. I do recall being told that I hated to go to the doctor because I hated shots, and I believe that to be true. And we went to Dr. Peterson's office, and I was just little because I've been told that you got out of the car, and when you got out and shut the door, I reached around and locked all the doors. So no one was going to get me in that doctor's office that day. But apparently Dr. Peterson came out to the car and tried to get me to come in. Of course, who'd want to go in? He had that white coat on, and I think I definitely had white coat syndrome.
The first Christmas I spent in Colorado, I was introduced to the Knaus family tradition of making tamales and having them on Christmas Eve. The way I understand it is that the recipe was actually purchased from a Mexican-American family who sold tamales as a street vendor in Niwot dozens of years ago. The recipe and making of these Knaus family tamales has evolved somewhat over time. Either I have become more incorporated into the family, or Gladys has become more liberal as time passes. I would like to assume the former. Originally, Gladys watched over the making of the tamales like a mother bear protects her cubs. It all starts with grinding the meat in that old aluminum broiler pan. She has used the same broiler pan forever, but it still works great and probably will be around for another decade at least. Originally, I was allowed to help grind the meat. That was it, nothing more. She and she alone added the spices and tomato juice to the batch of tamales. You could taste and render an opinion regarding the heat or spiciness of the tamales, but don't even think about adding additional pepper flakes or chili powder to the batch of tamales. No sir, no way, no how. That all began to change one year when she mistakenly added cinnamon to the mixture instead of chili powder. She tried to cover it up by adding more spices to the mixture, but the flavor was just too distinct. She was now open to any and all suggestions and help. The flavoring barrier wall had now come down slightly, and for the first time I was allowed to add some spices to the tamale mixture. Baby Gladys was beginning to trust me a little. From there on out, the flavoring issue has been a game of cat and mouse with Gladys. Most of the family, including Dick, likes the tamales with a little bit of punch or spice, and Gladys likes a more moderate flavor. So for years, I wait until Gladys is out of the kitchen to add more pepper flakes, chili powder, or even, God forbid, a slight dash of cayenne powder. When all is said and done, everyone looks forward to eating Knaus family tamales Christmas Eve and for days thereafter. We have made these same tamales at home and follow the same recipe, but they just don't taste the same. So it must be that old roaster pan or the family spirit that gives them the special taste. What do you think? Making and eating Knaus family tamales will always be a great memory for me.
Hanging out with all the cousins and the family, you just always brought everyone together, which I'm so thankful for. As I get older, it just becomes more and more real about how important our family is and how strong of a bond we have, and that all was started with the two of you. I just feel very, very lucky.
Hey Grandma and Grandpa, happy 66th anniversary. That's pretty amazing. You guys made it that long together. I could never imagine being married for that long a time. That's pretty amazing. So I'm just really thankful just growing up with you guys. You guys were always just awesome mentors to me. Some of my favorite memories were, you guys always coming to my football games and basketball games, baseball games. You guys were just always so supportive of me, and so I'm pretty grateful for that. So those were always fun times to see you guys there. Definitely made my mind more at ease going into those games. So I'm really thankful for that. A funny story that happened back in the day was when, I don't know who all was in the car? I think it was Molly, Mitch, Melissa, me, Julie, and we were with Grandpa and Grandma. We were going out somewhere, and I put a whoopee cushion under Grandpa's seat, and I got him pretty good on that one. And I don't think he thought it was too funny at the time, but I think we can all laugh about it now. So that was just a funny memory I had of you guys. But anyway, I just hope you guys are doing well, and just keep on going like you guys always have. Love you.